Welcome to AnimeFan Narrations, Solo Leveling Episode 43.
This dungeon belonged to the Hunters Guild after all. If Jinwoo wanted a magic crystal from an A-rank dungeon, he didn't need to come to someone else's territory. He could simply get a permit and enter his own dungeon. No, what Jinwoo was really after was something else. His eyes were locked on the black smoke rising slowly from the boss's body. He licked his lips with anticipation. Memories of Baruka's corpse slipping away back in the Red Gate surfaced in his mind.
But things are a lot different now.
Back then, his stats weren't as high, and taking down that monster had pushed him to his limits. Only with the help of Ygritte and Iron, his night-grade soldiers, did he manage to secure that win. Today, however, taking down this shaman had been much simpler. A week spent in the demon's castle had paid off, proving that those 7 days of grueling battles weren't for nothing. He directed his gaze at the wisps of black smoky mist above the corpse and gave a command.
Rise up.
As soon as he spoke, an eerie gust brushed against his cheeks. He sensed it immediately.
It worked.
A triumphant grin spread across his face. With a soul-piercing scream, a mage cloaked in black robes emerged from the shaman's shadow.
What?
Something felt off about this one, so Jinwoo checked the information window.
Level 1.
Elite Knight grade.
An elite knight?
So far, Jinwoo had discovered 3 ranks among his shadow soldiers: regular, elite, and knight. But this was the first time he'd encountered the grade Elite Knight. From the title alone, it seemed clear that this soldier was likely stronger than either Ygritte or Iron.
Definitely. Its magic energy feels higher than my other 2 knights.
It seemed fitting that a rank A dungeon boss would become such a powerful shadow soldier.
Please set the soldier's name.
As expected, the system prompted him to give the new soldier a name. With another knight-grade shadow soldier joining his ranks, Jinwoo pondered the name for a moment.
A name, huh?
While its face was still hidden by the hooded robe, it had the distinctive high orc fangs he'd come to expect.
Let's call it Fangs.
Without needing any extra command, simply deciding on the name was enough to set it in place.
Fangs Level 1.
Elite Knight grade. The name immediately appeared in the information window, replacing the question marks. If that arrogant shaman had known it'd end up named Fangs, it might have fainted in outrage. But then again, that didn't matter. It was dead already. With a satisfied smile, Jinwoo summoned his shadow soldiers back to him. He could now retain nearly 130 of them. While it was a bit disappointing, the rest would have to return to the void for now.
This amount should be more than enough, though.
He stepped down from the altar, grinning widely, only to see several people heading his way. Among them were members of the raid team, Chahain, and a group of men in black suits. Jinwoo recognized a familiar face in the group.
When did Chief Wu Jincheol arrive?
Judging by Wu Jincheol's expression, he had likely seen the full display of the shadow soldiers in action.
Mr. Sung Jinwoo.
Sung Jinwoo Hunternam. Mr. Porter?
They all addressed him at once, then looked at each other in brief surprise. Although Jinwoo had thoroughly enjoyed fighting without holding back now that he no longer had to hide his abilities,
How am I going to handle this situation?
Jinwoo scratched the back of his head as he looked at the group surrounding him.
Solo Leveling, Chapter 92.
Wu Jincheol was the first to act. While everyone else watched each other warily, he walked directly over to Jinwoo, pulled out his ID card, and held it up with unmistakable pride.
We're with the Association's Monitoring Division.
It didn't matter whether you were a high-ranking hunter or a rookie. The mention of the monitoring division would make anyone tense up. And that reaction was exactly what Wu Jincheol was counting on. For a split second, an uneasy expression flickered on the faces of the Hunters Guild members. Everyone except Chahain. Wu Jincheol took advantage of this opening to continue speaking.
Hunter Sung Jinwoo's identity is strictly classified by the Association. It's highly confidential information and cannot be disclosed to the public.
Jinwoo could only stand back, somewhat amazed at Wu Jincheol's polished delivery. In fact, his tone and expression were so natural, one might think he practiced it every morning in front of a mirror or something similar. Whatever his preparation, his intentions clearly got through to the other party. At the same time, Wu Jincheol gave Jinwoo a barely perceptible signal with his eyes.
We'll help you avoid unnecessary attention when leaving this place.
Jinwoo wasn't entirely sure why the monitoring division was assisting him, but since they were offering to handle the situation, he saw no reason to decline. Jinwoo gave a slight nod. That was exactly what he had hoped for. Wu Jincheol's sharp subordinates quickly positioned themselves around Jinwoo, forming a guard.
If you have any inquiries, please direct them to the Association. We will now escort Hunter Sung Jinwoo.
His tone held an implied warning. Don't even think about objecting. Thanks to Wu Jincheol's unyielding demeanor, strong enough to break stone, the Hunters Guild members held their questions back and remained silent.
Shall we?
With the agents of the monitoring division surrounding him, Jinwoo walked past the hunters.
They're certainly helping me out, but
Something felt a little off just then. Why did Chief Woo Jincheol step in so unexpectedly? Once they had distanced themselves from the Hunters Guild members, Jinwoo quietly asked,
"Why are you suddenly doing all this?"
Are you by any chance considering joining the Hunters Guild?
Jinwoo shook his head, as though he had already anticipated this answer. Woo Jincheol promptly continued.
What you demonstrated just now was power that surpasses the rank S category, and you did it in front of employees from South Korea's most prominent, affluent guild. If you want to avoid unwanted attention, this is the best approach.
He was absolutely right. There was no predicting just how far the influential Hunters Guild might go to secure another rank S hunter. Other hunters might eagerly welcome that, but Jinwoo was different. The same went for the association as well. In this case, the interests of both the association, seeking to avoid an imbalance of power favoring a single guild, and Jinwoo, who found the guild's interference bothersome, lined up quite well. Since this wasn't a one-sided favor from the other party, but rather something beneficial to both sides, Jinwoo didn't feel uncomfortable with the arrangement.
well, the association certainly made things easier for me this time.
With the unexpected turn of events wrapping things up so smoothly, Jinwoo allowed a faint, nearly hidden smile to form on his face. However, just as they were about to leave the boss room for good,
Hold on.
a frantic shout sounded from behind the group. Almost instinctively, Jinwoo glanced back and saw Sun Ji-hoon making his way toward them, leaning heavily on his larger colleague for support. All of his visible wounds had been treated, but his face was still pale from blood loss.
He really shouldn't be moving around just yet.
Despite Jinwoo's concern, Sun Ji-hoon managed to approach him, stopping just close enough to offer a deep bow.
Thank you.
Without holding back, he spoke up, letting his gratitude flow freely.
It's thanks to you that we're all still here. On behalf of the raid team, I wanted to express our deepest thanks.
If what the monitoring division's hunter said was true, then this young man seemed to be concealing some personal reasons for staying anonymous.
With power like that, it wouldn't be surprising if he had some unspoken reason to keep his identity hidden.
Yet still, he had put his secrecy at risk to save Sun Gi-hoon and the rest of the raid team. And that wasn't even all. He hadn't asked for any compensation. He could have demanded monster corpses from the Hunters Guild or some form of payment for saving the team's lives, but he chose to walk away without mentioning a thing. How could Sun Gi-hoon not bow to this man in respect?
Thank you so much.
His emotions welling up, Sun Gi-hoon bowed deeply once more, bending at a full 90 degrees. The sudden movement sent a wave of pain through his already sore body, but in a way, he welcomed it. His heart was filled with gratitude as he remembered how Jinwoo had defeated the monster in the very same way he himself had been helplessly overpowered before. Recalling that moment, he felt he could thank this young man over and over again. Seeing their leader bowing in thanks jolted the other hunters of the raid team back to their senses.
If it hadn't been for that man,
He's really our savior.
I can't just stand here like this.
They hurriedly stepped forward, each one bowing as well.
Thank you, mister. No, I mean Hunter Nim.
If it wasn't for you, we wouldn't be here.
Because of you, my wife won't be a widow now.
One of the younger hunters, who had shown trembling hands when Sun Ji-hoon had decided to call off the raid, approached Jinwoo with teary eyes.
Hunter Nim, I'm so grateful that, could I give you a hug just this once?
Aye, that's going too far, man.
He's starting again. Someone, please stop him.
Hey, why don't you hug me instead, huh?
What the? You're creeping me out, let go.
For the first time since stepping into this rank A dungeon, the raid team members finally burst into genuine laughter, unrestrained. Watching them, Jinwoo felt a quiet satisfaction welling up within him. He hadn't intervened to receive praise or gratitude, but their sincere appreciation still managed to bring a warm smile to his face. Jinwoo made his way over to the female hunter bouncing excitedly in the corner.
With how small she is, I nearly didn't see her there.
He extended the note she'd handed him earlier, causing the female healer to blush as she accepted it with both hands.
To thank you.
Inside, though, she was mentally kicking herself.
Geez, why did I have to say those embarrassing things to him back then?
Now she had yet another reason to lie in bed cringing whenever she thought back on today. From the perspective of someone like Mr. Porter, who could take down the dungeon boss with ease, she must have looked pretty silly giving him a note as if it contained her final words. She lifted her head slightly, and to her relief, he wasn't mocking her. Instead, he addressed her in a slightly stern tone.
Miss Healer.
Yes?
The female healer straightened up immediately, like a student caught slouching in class.
From now on, please don't put personal items in the raid team's gear. It only adds unnecessary weight.
Pardon?
The female healer was momentarily speechless, her eyes wide as saucers. Jinwoo grinned, satisfied. He'd said his piece. and it seemed she had pretty much expressed everything on her mind too. Leaving the bewildered healer behind, he turned around and headed out in a smooth exit.
Let's go.
As Jinwoo started walking, the monitoring division agents moved in unison, as if they'd practiced this formation. With one exception. Only Cha Hein hadn't managed to say anything to Jinwoo, and she reached out as if to call him, but stopped herself.
I wanted to ask for his number.
All she'd wanted was a chance to speak with him alone, if he had the time. But asking him now might give the wrong impression, considering things hadn't fully settled. Just then, a female hunter approached Cha Hein.
Vice Chair?
Yes?
Cha Hein turned to face her, and the female hunter gestured toward her hand.
Why are you holding a pickaxe?
Cha Hein's eyes drifted down to the head of the pickaxe, and her cheeks began to flush rapidly. She quickly lowered the pickaxe and hesitantly asked,
Do you think he thought I looked strange?
The female hunter, a mage, tilted her head and replied,
Who are you talking about?
Cha Hein's face, along with her neck, turned a deep shade of red in response.
Thanks for watching Solo Leveling on AnimeFan Narrations. If you enjoyed it, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell for updates. Share your thoughts in the comments. See you next time.